That's a comforting sign.
Right? We're 50% way there. Don't want that view though. Hello, everybody. Can someone on screen just give me a high five that you can hear me? Okay, thank you. Sorry for our little bit of technical issues. The internet was not working as smoothly here as we had hoped. So thank you for your patience while we dealt with that. So why don't we, even though we're a few minutes late, call the meeting to order. And let's review the agenda. So, David, has it changed significantly from what's online?
No, it's pretty much the same.
Okay, so I'll just use that one.
Yep.
So first off, we have to review the agenda. We have a discussion on 2 Lake Loyola voting safety request, and schedule a meeting date, hire town administrator, administrative assistant, check in on public forum for Lake Loyola listening session on March 13th, review town hall and town common use policy, discussion on snow shoveling and snow closure policy here for town hall, review the current draft budget for FY 2026, which is not in final form, review the town hall building needs, and then head into executive session for the police chief contract. So with that, I'm going to, Eric, I know we're running late, open it up to public comment.
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
So let's open it up to public comment. Please use the raise hand feature if you're on the camera. Like here, raise your hand if you're in person, okay? All right, can I have MD? Can you identify yourself, MD, so we know who you are first before we call on you?
I think this is Miriam DeFont.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Miriam.
Yes, thank you. I wish to acknowledge that a group of residents submitted a letter of complaint to the select board last night regarding the conduct of the chief of police, which included several concerning activities on Nextdoor Shutesbury, as well as political content on other social media platforms that we believe may violate municipal policies and standards for law enforcement personnel. We hope you.
Miriam, I've muted your microphone. I appreciate you bringing that to us, but this forum will not be an extension of comments on Nextdoor until the select board has time to review the letter that has been submitted. If you'd like to continue, please move on to something that's not related to Nextdoor comments.
Thank you. We hope, if I could just finish my comment, we hope you'll investigate our concerns and, if appropriate, allow residents to come forward with pertinent information in an executive session. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any public comment they wish to share? Okay, so we'll move on to the rest of the meeting. So we have some further discussion on Lake Loyola boating safety request, and how are we going to address this and schedule a meeting date?
Listen, it wasn't the two Lake Loyola Drive, was the
Dredging, I'm sorry, that was dredging,
dredging.
not.
That's what I was looking for, dredging request.
Dredging, so that was brought to us the last fall.
Right.
I'm sorry. Melissa, it's Mary Lou trying to speak. My hand raised, I can't find it on my new computer. And I was trying to raise my hand.
Okay, you can make your comment now, but we do have to move on.
Okay, I'll be very quick. Thank you. My name is Mary Lou Conca. I live on Wendell Road in Shutesbury. And if I can use words to piggyback what Miriam was speaking about, her basic concerns of residents in Shutesbury, I totally am with her. And I have faith in my select people that when you enter this session, you'll be able to compassionately and wholesome, come up with a wholesome decision. Thank you. Okay.
So this is the dredging of the sediment that has kind of backfilled right at that address and that location. And I remember it came to us early fall, September, maybe,
Right.
October, I don't remember the exact date, so please excuse me on that. And we had talked about it briefly, but we hadn't made next steps or scheduling meetings. So I know you're on the LWAC committee, do you have any
I think the
thoughts on
big
that?
thing was to also get the conservation committee to see if they wanted to look at it, what they thought we should do.
Okay.
Seems like that's our next step, that's what I would say.
Okay, and, now this computer decides to work. So, yeah, so we should have a scheduled meeting, do we want to do select board and Concom, or just this Concom, let them do their process and then meet with them? I think we could go either way, right?
We could just invite them, some of them to one of our meetings if they
Okay.
want to come,
Sure.
next one of the meeting.
Okay, and our next meeting is
March 11th.
March 11th.
Maybe give them a heads up on what's going on.
Yeah, they may want, so 3/11, 2/11. And Concom, okay. Gabe, I know you're busy, do you want me to reach out to Concom and ask her?
You can't, I mean, I don't mind doing
Okay,
it.
I don't want to have too much get with it.
No. Do we have the request in writing from them? I know they came to the meeting and talked about it.
There was an email, I'll forward that. to
Okay,
you.
that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, I will forward that to you. Yeah. Was there anything else we wanted to talk about related to that?
I don't think so.
We'll get the deeper discussion when we have that scheduled. Our second topic is to speak with and potentially hire a town administrative assistant. And we currently have Brennan Mayu sitting here with us. Just to let the public and everyone here know, this is for the position that was traditionally an the admin secretary position, and the select board, the personnel board, increased that to an admin assistant position, 32 hours with a set schedule here in town hall. And then we went out to advertise the position, and we got 2 great candidates, and Gabe and I, the select board, tasked Gabe and I with doing the interviews and speaking with our candidates as they came in. And so she and I are bringing Brendan Mayu to this. They were 2 very good candidates, both had great qualifications, so it was definitely a hard decision. And Gabe, do you want to fill in a little bit before we start speaking with Brennan, or shall we?
No, go right ahead, yeah.
Right. So Brennan has quite a few skills, and he comes to us from having a bachelor's degree, education, background with police dispatching, multiple levels of work experience. And so he's here with us tonight. Eric, I don't know if you have questions to ask, but I'm gonna first ask Brendan to introduce himself.
Is that the camera right there?
Just look at the camera, yeah,
Okay.
here or there, either way.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm Brendan Mays. I'm a resident of Orange, Mass, so not a far commute here to Shutesbury. Select person Melissa, she kind of mentioned my school background. I have a criminal justice degree that I achieved at Mount Wachusett Community College. And then after that, I had a change of heart with kind of the way I wanted my future to go. And I ended up going back to school to get a bachelor's degree in anthropology to kind of understand who we are as human beings, because that's something I truly believe is important, is we're all human beings, so the best thing we can do is kind of learn about ourselves and who we are. In terms of myself, I would say I'm very enthusiastic. I love to always come into work with a smile on my face and interact with members of the public. I personally, in terms of skills, I'd like to think I thrive in environments where time management's important and meeting deadlines. I'd say I'm very well-rounded in multitasking and communicating effectively and efficiently with public members. And in terms of what I see with this role in the town of Shutesbury is really just offering my skills to assist wherever assistance is needed. I love to work, I'm motivated, dedicated, and I'm willing to put in time and effort to give the town what they deserve. And I look forward to meeting members of Shutesbury. That's a little bit about me. And if anybody has questions, I'd love to answer.
What about basic skills like typing or Excel or those kinds of things?
Yeah, so being in school for the past 6 years, well, past 18, I went from high school straight to college. And
Right.
I just graduated this past December, so yeah, technology has been a big part of my life. My bachelor's degree was online, so I'd say I'm well versed on Microsoft Office, including Microsoft Word and Excel. Zoom's important in the operation of these town meetings, Google Calendars, PowerPoint. So I'd say I'm very well rounded in technology.
I know I had asked you this in the interview, but I think it's important for Eric and the community here, is what your learning style is.
Yeah, learning. I love to, I'd say I have two different learning styles. I love to be hands-on. I love to get involved and learn that way. But I also love to observe and let role models almost, role models show me how it's done. And I'd say I'm quick to observe and kind of learn from watching people. But I'd say I'm open to learn any way possible.
Yeah, I have no problem if you went through the whole process.
Some of the things we talked about too in the interview was time management and multitasking and how you prioritize your tasks when multiple ones come at you. And I think that Brennan has definitely the ability to do all of those things and still serve the public too, which was great.
So just to add to a little bit about what we learned when we interviewed Brennan, he did his homework. He looked at select board meeting minutes to see if he was capable of doing them, which is a big plus for us.
Yeah, right, that's great.
Because that is something we need to do. And looked at the town, looked at the population, and just got familiarized with it a little bit. He does bring a wide background being on student council, if I remember it right. And so a lot of responsibility in his positions in the past for the experience that he has. So we felt really comfortable. We like the fact that he loves diversity. We are a diverse community, and we thought that was a plus. So that's just my input.
Yeah, and then to add to that too, you have the background of dealing with confidential information, which is important in this role too. So yeah, it's strong with that too. So with that, Gabe and I are recommending Brennan as our administrative assistant in the town of Shutesbury.
Very good. I move we hire
I will second that. Any other questions or such? Okay, all in favor?
him. Stalker eye.
Make use O'Neill, aye. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to
So you're
serve.
welcome to stay, or you can go home and
Stick around. I'd like to
Okay.
see
See how it
I need
works.
an opportunity.
Okay, sure.
I was gonna say, the actual run-on.
It's gonna be fun.
Our next topic is check-in with the public forum for Lake Leola. We had set the date of March 13th for our public forum, and I did email Paul, he's available, and I emailed the school, and I have a form to fill out, so I believe they're available as well. She just emailed it, they were on vacation last week
Oh, yeah, right.
for President's Week vacation, or school vacation. And so I will get that filled out. I did speak with Matt, the chair of that committee, and he himself is away, and he was wondering if we might consider later in March. So I told him I'd bring it to the select board as a potential option. He does travel for work, and I told him I'd bring it, and we'd have the discussion if we wanted to move it later in the month, or if we kind of wanted to stick with the 13th.
He seems fairly crucial to be there, I would think, so I would be tempted to say later in the month, but
Okay.
I don't, how much later in the month? I mean,
It would be the 24th, it wouldn't, hold on, I want to make sure I get that date right, give me 1 second. Just let me look at the calendar, March, let's go to March. March is, yeah, it was the 27th, I think he said he was available.
That's a Thursday.
It is a Thursday.
It looks free and clear right now.
So how do you feel about moving it to?
that's okay with me.
That's okay with you? Okay, all right, so I will let him know, so I will let Paul know, and I will let, Ian at the school know that we'll change it to that same time, same process, and then that'll give us time to figure out if we want an agenda. I think Rita had mentioned an agenda or sometime, a playbill for that evening.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, that's all good.
All right, so we'll move it to that. Awesome, well, that was good. And, otherwise, I think we're on schedule with that. So, okay. All right, we'll move on to review town hall and town common use policy. And I have to find that in my, give me 1 minute.
So we brought this back because it was on a list of, did we finish it or did we not finish it? It does say we adopted it in November. I did not go back and look to see if we
Oh, we may
officially.
have,
Oh, we
okay.
I
probably
did
did.
go back and look at,
Things
see
wrong.
if we officially did it. So I don't think it's bad to review it again and make sure that it's where we want it to be.
Okay.
I went through the forms, it's pretty simple. The only question I had is we called it a lease agreement. And I wasn't sure if that was what we wanted to keep the word lease in there. Are they leasing the, room? So in the thing, it
Yeah.
says that they're going to sign a lease agreement with rules of use. I would just drop the
Yeah,
word
use
lease,
agreement.
a
Yeah,
use
use
agreement, yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think use
that's okay.
agreement,
I think that's a good idea.
because at least.
Yeah, it's not
use agreement.
formal like that. Okay, so I'm gonna drop the lease and call it use.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 places in there on the first page where the word lease is there. So that was my only concern when I reviewed it again. So there's a rules of use attached that people will be handed out. This is something that people will sign up for through Brennan, and then he will put it on the town calendar. And so we're gonna create a Google Calendar so that people can go on the web and see what's occupied for space use in the town hall.
And I believe the select board had to approve that, or was it just through the TA and and the admin assistant, I can't remember.
The use policy.
Yeah,
I
can't
think we
remember the
kind
percent.
of wanted you folks to
Yeah,
read it
yeah.
over and approve it so that everybody was on board with it. I don't think technically that it has to be, oh, you mean if somebody wants to use the
Yeah, like,
building?
yeah, I can't remember what the
Yeah.
process was for.
No, I think using, it would be cumbersome if we had to wait
Yeah.
2 weeks for somebody to say yes. We get people asking us to use the rooms all the time, knitting groups, people like that. If it's a library program, we don't charge.
Right.
But if it's a bridal shower or whatever people wanna do, baby shower, then we would charge a $25 fee for using it. That's about it.
And that was
on
the
it.
only question I thought,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you're okay with this, I'd like to just implement it.
Yeah, I'd say do it.
Why don't we just be official and give a vote? So do I hear a motion to, edit and amend, the town use and town common policy? Let me say that right. And start to implement it immediately.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor?
Stalker, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye. Okay, perfect. All right. And now we're on to the discussion of snow shoveling and snow closure
closure.
policy.
So, I've spent some time reviewing, and evidently I agreed back in November to write a draft of a snow closure policy, which I am remiss in doing.
I think I said I'd help too.
Yeah, so I just wanted to address that.
Yeah.
The snow shoveling is a bigger issue, and it's also a budget issue. And we need to talk to the highway boss about it. So it came out formally at the department head meeting. And it's being driven by the fact that the library is gonna have sidewalks and increases the need for snow shoveling. And it is a problem when you have a snowstorm and you walk up to the front of Shutesbury Town Hall and it's slushy and you have to go through that. It's an ADA issue, it's a liability issue, so I do believe the town needs to formalize snow shoveling. It has been done by volunteers. Kudos to Sergeant Pelletier, who's been shoveling away, and Mary Ann Tonellis, who's been shoveling the library, and Leslie Bracebridge, and all the people who make that path walkable. And considering the ice that we've had, I think they've done an amazing job. But I think it's time for the town to stop relying on volunteers. The first few snowstorms we had, we did have to walk through the slush. And then because we discussed it, we've had some people pick up and start shoveling. But when you add that library to it, and the fact that the library is open daily, it's my understanding it's gonna be open daily, you really need to address your liability issue and have those sidewalks clear. So the discussion with the select board should be, are you going to hire someone, create a job description, and fund a snow shoveling removal person? Or are you going to put it under highway? And I will tell you my opinion on it, even though you didn't ask me.
2 cents, it's always well.
2 cents. But we have tried it in other towns to not have it formalized, and it doesn't work. You can't hire somebody for a few hours during a snowstorm. So in the places I've been, we put it under highway. Now, highway can hire a temporary person under their scope, but the direction is what you need. That's why you want it under highway. You need a supervisor, and you need that person not just to come and go when they feel like it, you need the supervisor. One of the solutions you could use is when you go out and you hire your private snowplow contractors, you can see if one of them would do the shoveling, including their little pathways that they do. Dave can put it out for that. But I want to start the discussion about the whole thing. We are in budget season, and to get someone to shovel, you need to pay at least $25 an hour, believe it or not. There are no teenagers out there that are willing to come up here and shovel. That's what we've discovered in my years of doing this. It's a different world out there. So sometimes you can have a part-time person who helps mow in the summer and will shovel in the winter, and you hire a lawn maintenance person or just a yard or landscape maintenance person. The other issues you're going to have, and Mary Ann says it's not gonna be a big issue, but I'm convinced that it will be, is if you do plantings or shrubberies around your library, people need to maintain them. They need to be trimmed. And so I think it's a bigger picture than just the snow shoveling, it's the lawn
It
maintenance.
could be multiple
It could be
seasons.
multiple. And I know the gardening group has done a wonderful job in plantings and stuff like that, but you do need to consider maintenance. So I don't know if you want to consider, or talk among yourselves right now, consider inviting Dave in, and we do need to find a solution to it, but we also need to think about how we're gonna fund it.
I think we should invite Dave in,
Yeah,
you know, and, to a meeting and definitely talk about that. And I know he had some feelings about it in the meeting you were at with the staff. So, yeah, why don't we invite him in and, maybe you can find a creative solution and, you know, and one thing I was thinking that came up in the other conversation that we had was those, heat pads that you put down when it snows and they heat just enough so it doesn't, or not just enough, but they keep it clear. So it could be something we implement that as well as something else. It can't be the sole thing, you know, because it does still need to be maintained, but you could help.
It could help, and you could, but who would you put in charge of laying them down? Would you give it to DPW to do?
Yeah, or maybe if in this building, the custodian could put it down if there are no storms coming,
Okay.
you know, and get it set
Okay.
before the storm, right, not during the storm.
Okay.
So that, you know, just kind of that's off the top of my head, but that doesn't have to be the solution.
it also seems to me that equipment might be involved, that instead of say the live, I mean, this front walk out front there, you don't need a snow blower, all that kind of, but if you, I'm not sure how big the library walk's gonna be.
Well, you're gonna have it to the parking lot.
So you probably will want a snow blower.
So I'm just thinking like,
Or something small, you know, or something.
yeah, I would think I don't think it has to be a super duper snow blower, but so that would, my guess is there's a piece of equipment involved here that we'd have to somehow deal with. And that's again, probably an argument for putting it in terms of the highway to have them do it,
Right.
because they could
Plus storing the equipment.
store it, maintain it, whatever has to
Oil
be
it,
done.
Right.
And then if we think about making it a condition, something that's, you know, more seasonal, so not just the snow, but also the care for certain things, you want to have a little bit of equipment for that too, so there would be that involved.
So one of the things you can consider if you put it under highway and you buy it as a piece of snow equipment, it can go under snow and ice as an expenditure.
Okay.
So if you decide to put it under highway, that's a positive for putting it under highway. Because it is snow and ice related, if you're only gonna use it in snow. So
That's a great idea.
So as far as the snow closing policy, I will draft something up. One of my thoughts is, I don't know, a lot of towns, if the school closes, the town closes. I don't know if that's something you want to consider. Or a lot of times the school closes as a cautionary and then no storm happens and then people wonder why the town's closed. So you always fight that battle.
Yeah, that's happened quite in the last couple
Yeah, it
of
has.
winters, they cancel school the night before, and there has been times where there is not that much the next day or
Oh,
so we probably would want, you know, maybe some sort of maybe a little bit of both, in that if it's a significant storm, you know.
So typically as a town administrator, I've always talked to the highway. I always talk to the highway when snow's coming. I get the National Grid alerts. So, and we watch where it's coming. We're trying out in Shutesbury a new program that gives us local road conditions and how warm or cold the pavements are
Oh,
in
that's
this
nice.
specific area, so we know what we're retreating. So I would suggest that the TA make the decision, because they're the ones, and then you have some sort of a phone chain or an email chain. Right. One of the things I want the admin to do is to post it on the website, so people, before they leave their houses, you have to
Yeah.
post it fairly early,
Yeah.
but you know, if you post it that the town hall's closed, and we we teach people to look at the website before they get in their car and try to drive. I'm really concerned about the elderly because a lot of times they are confident that they can do it, and they are the ones that get hurt and fall down and hurt themselves and make the trip and then find the doors locked. And I don't want to do that to them. So we can write something up and bring it back.
Yeah, I think that's really good. It's really important to have it on the website, I think, that information.
We have the town announcement, which is nice.
Yeah, Gail has been great in helping me post things on the website. Closures, holidays need to be posted, that sort of thing, so that people are aware. So we're trying to do that. So that was all I had on that.
Okay. I think that's a good plan forward.
So we should just invite Dave to
Yeah, we should, maybe the 11th, we could invite Dave there.
give him a little heads up so he can think about what he would think would be a good
Yeah, I
idea.
haven't done my check-in with him, but I know he's in contact with him.
Yeah,
I try to do a check-in every now and then, but yeah. So, yeah, no, that's a great idea. And out of just, to that conversation, I'll bring just those heat pad things, just, to see, what they're like and information as an option too. Okay, so now we are on to the review of the current draft budget.
So tonight I really wanted to go over what you folks are responsible for in the budget, have you look at the budget, and do your input on the different line items that we're responsible for. I'm going to my copy. And I don't know if perusing it, either one of you have seen anything that you want to talk about. If you want to start that way. I basically filled everything in that I could possibly fill in. We are still waiting for the insurance quotes from Maya. Yeah, and today he wrote me back and said they're meeting soon, because we're all waiting with bated breath on what the costs are going to be.
Yeah, because I heard it was going up, and then I noticed the front page, the thing I have says that the budget number was decreased at Ryan's request, so I didn't quite understand that.
What line are you on?
It's,
For the driver.
line 208, in the driver thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Ryan doesn't do our town insurance. Are you talking health insurance?
Health insurance, yeah.
Okay, so health insurance, we actually increased it to $600,000. Because the Hampshire Group Trust is experiencing a 19% increase in the premium.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, so that was substantial and kind of a shock for everyone. And what is driving our health insurance budget, which is really important for the public to know, is pharmaceuticals. So pharmaceuticals are the driver. It's not illnesses. It is the fact that a lot of people are on the weight loss drugs.
And they're like, oh,
And they're huge. They never expected the cost of those to be $500,000 a month, but they are $500,000+ a month just for those. And some of them, one pen is $1,000 a month per person. So you can see why the drive of that happens so fast. And there is a good side to people losing weight, health-wise, heart, diabetes, all the other things.
on the backside of the
Right. But it's hard right now when it's such a big driver for all the towns to see that budget go up 19%. That is not a controllable item. The only way you can do it is to renegotiate your contract with your town, and we have a 75-25% cost share. That is not a popular thing to do, and if you want to control your health insurance costs, you have to negotiate that with your unions first. And because we're in a collaborative, it's not just our union, it is all the unions, teacher unions, school unions, police, Teamsters, everybody in all the towns that are part of this program. So we have tried to do it. It's not easy. So just to tell you about it. Our town ratio we can do on our own. We don't have to do it as a collaborative, but to change the program and what the cost, like co-pays and all those things are, that has to be negotiated with everyone. We do not have a lot of co-pays. They did start some ER co-pays, but we don't have $1,000 deductible like some insurance programs have, or $2,000 for a family or any of that. So, and our employees didn't really want it to get that annual payment. It seems that they would rather pay a higher premium and get it over with than come up with co-pays to put against x-rays and MRIs and all those things. So it is rough. If they go to more than Blue Cross Blue Shield is the only company we use, if they start doing what the GIC does and offering multiple companies, then you start seeing a loss in some of the costs in some of the other areas and the gains in some. So it is a really complicated system. If anybody wants to hear the deliberation when Hampshire Group Insurance discusses this, they're public meetings, they're posted on the website, and you can go and listen in. It is a complicated thing, and we're being hit with a 19% increase. So that hits our budget $100,000. Adds to it. It is significant. Yep.
Yeah.
So good question.
That is a good question. And one that everybody's dealing with, not even just municipalities, it's
Right.
just across the board.
Maya had a huge increase. A lot of towns are on the Massachusetts insurance company, and their increase is based on each town's health rates. And so I've seen them 14, 15, 16%. We are in the ballpark. The one thing I have to say about Hampshire Group is we have not had increases for 4 or 5 years.
I was gonna say, it's been pretty stable for up till now.
Yeah.
That's 19%.
And
It's
last
bad
year,
now.
they did increase it last year, but it wasn't this heavy.
Yeah.
I think it was 8% last year.
It was kind of the ramp up of what we're seeing now. 'Cause that's
They
kind of
warned
when
us.
those things started, yeah.
Right, they warned us what was happening. So, okay, any other one?
I'm just going through here.
Nothing else after that.
Nothing jumped out at it. I know it's gonna be bumpy and a tough year, so.
Yeah, the budget from the regional school is obviously a question, but it's still, you can't answer the question, because
Right.
who knows?
So the longevity bonuses are the one thing that I still need to put in here. I need to figure out where the chart is.
I can give you that if it's the one from the personnel book.
Yep.
You want that? Okay, I can email it to you.
That way I can figure out who's entitled to it or not. So we've had, the other area that affects us as a town hall and the select board is the custodial budget. Mary Ann has come to us and said the library is going to need custodial care. And we figured the hours to be 5 hours a week, and we multiplied that by how many days she's open and how many weeks in a year, and it increased the town hall custodial budget, I think $4,000. I'm trying to find the line item. So that's another increase that we are seeing here. Town buildings. So custodial, and this one I haven't put it in yet. So I'm gonna add $4,000 to that $8,000 budget, just so that you're aware. And again, we're not sure how we're going with that. You may have to look at hiring a custodian. Our current custodian may not be able to handle doing both buildings. And that's under consideration right now. He's looking at the demands and gonna give us some feedback on it.
And then there'll be, personnel board interaction with.
Right, we'll have to go to the
Some of that too, right,
personnel
yeah.
board and create a job description, if that's the case where we have to hire somebody else. So as far as town hall goes, I have level funded pretty much everything. We've increased a little bit in the heating, because when I looked at last year's expenses in '24, I'm on line 131 in my book. If you go under town buildings, we overspent. So when I went through the budget and I looked at what we overspent last year, I increased those budgets.
Okay.
Oil, this year, evidently you folks don't do your heating oil, your diesel, and your gasoline through the FERCog bidding system. And
We have
this
used
year-
that before, sometimes.
yeah, you didn't last year, and I don't know why.
There was one year we didn't, because we took a chance, this was several years ago, we took a chance because, the rates were higher than what we were seeing in the world at the time, and so we took a chance and we won that year. But I think we did it for the following consecutive ones, but maybe we didn't do it last year.
You didn't do it in '24.
Okay.
And aren't we in fiscal '25?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we ran out of oil in the highway today, and we discovered that we weren't on the FERCog bid, because we called FERCog to talk to them about our distributor, and discovered our distributor was independent.
Okay.
That it is Dead River.
Yeah, it was in the
Who
parking
is
lot.
who I thought
Oh,
was the
okay.
winning bid for, but I think we just kept them after we didn't join the bid process. So this year I am going with the bid process, unless you have an objection with that.
No,
That's
that
gonna-
makes sense.
Yeah, it's gonna come out in a couple of weeks, and we have to fill out what our usage is. So that number might change when you're looking at heating. But in the meantime, I put the heating at 14,000 and increased it 10%, unfortunately.
They came today I saw them out there loading up.
Yeah, because
Right,
thank
this
Dave for that. He keeps track, and so he called them for us.
Okay.
Good, okay.
The other thing I increased was repairs. Actually, I level funded it. Last year, you had budgeted 10,000 for repairs, you only spent $4,800. I budgeted the same again this year, but if the FinCom comes and asks us to reduce budgets, which they may very well do because it's a difficult year this year, I don't know what we do with repairs in here. One of my concerns is, and I'll talk about it, is the elevator. Okay, so right now I level funded that.
What line are you on there,
I
Jill?
am on, my line is 136, and it's town building. Can you see it? Come closer. Yes, come on in. So you can see it.
136.
It is, if you go under
Mine
town,
says chart, or am I in the wrong one?
no, I've noticed that these Excel things don't always line up with the numbers.
Oh, you're reading the Excel line.
Right,
Okay, hang on, I have the Excel one open, give me one second, you said 136.
yeah.
So that is for you,
Repairs.
Eric, it is 82.
82, no wonder I couldn't
See,
find
their
it
numbers are
closely
different.
nearby.
She's using the
Excel.
row numbers.
Oh, yeah, I see repairs. How clever is that?
136, okay,
So if you look at the whole town hall budget, we're only up $2,100, which is 4.57%. That's
Okay.
still double. You're only supposed to increase your budget 2.5%. The economy is driving all of this. And if we have to back off and level fund, if you look down that side column and look at the expenses, you'll see, and I know that Gail, I always butcher your name, Flyshaker, gave me some costs on the IT.
Okay.
And so those have to be, I have 5920 in there for the web and all of that. So postage has gone up. The Zoom support went up a very little bit. Annual town report, I think we could lower that. We had boxes of the annual town report in that storage.
line 90.
Yeah.
How many did you have?
I have 2 boxes, and each box must have 50 of them in there.
Really?
So I think if we reduce how many we print, and print not, print plenty, but we don't need to keep printing the excess. You don't need to save more than a couple of them a year.
Yeah.
And people just pitch them. A lot of people pitch them, a lot of people keep them. But I know a lot of people deep six them, and I hate to pay for that and landfill that and all of that.
Is that something we can add, like we were thinking about this for the newsletter with electronic, is it something we could put up online to read?
I think the state requires a hard copy.
No, I understand they do, I'm just saying, is it something that we can,
You
for
can
those
put
who
it up.
prefer that to be in, could do electronic and then have some, and if we had to order some more, we could order some more.
Yes, you
That way
could
we
do
could, do yeah, I think that's probably a better.
Yeah.
They're posted every year on the web.
They are posted?
Okay,
PDF document.
Okay, that's good to know.
so then then we can do a smaller amount, and then when we run out or get close, we could always get some more, because I think it's just really copied, it's not like they don't have to change a machine over or anything, right, so.
So our total government increase is 5.5%. So you can
That's not
see,
too bad.
yeah, well, 2.5.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely not great.
So, and it's really difficult to know where to shave. I mean, the post office isn't gonna give us a discount on the stamps. So we are looking at, getting a postal machine where we would get a bit of a discount, but that.
Post office will probably be gone by next year
Yeah.
anyway, so you won't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, it's gonna cause problems. So I don't know if you folks have anything else in reviewing this that you're curious about.
I was wondering about the town administrative salary line, at least in the one I have. Oh, wait, no, that one's higher. Okay, I don't know, I guess I'm looking at
That's page,
it. It is,
line
it looks,
10.
no, it looks like it's right here, so,
So
never
that,
mind.
okay. Yep,
The other one is wrong, okay. Okay.
and the FinCom is looking at a 2.95 COLA. That is the average that they do over so many years. They've got a good system that they use. So we're getting closer. I know April is looming. We did get our debt in here. We are getting closer to figuring this out. And you can see what the bottom line is right now. I'll show you. This is our deficit. This means we have to find $369,000.
That's your first job.
Yeah, that's take that task. It actually isn't a scary number for me because I usually start $1 million in hole, so I think it's all relative. They will figure it out.
Well, it's still draft, right?
It
We're
is
still the
draft. It's
point.
still a
There's
draft
still a
point,
lot of
right.
unknowns yet that will solidify over the next
Right.
few weeks.
And assumptions and opinions on the bottom, you can see the conversation that the FinCom has when they're exploring the different things, and the questions that they might have. So I know I'm bringing this to you sooner than it's been brought before, but I think it's important that we all be part of the process. And I can take your questions if you have them to the FinCom. I am now going to the FinCom meetings.
Okay.
Because we've split them away from the select board meetings.
Yeah,
And it's that crunch time where,
we were stacking.
I don't have Becky's historical knowledge on everything.
Yeah, right.
So that is different for them. But other than that, the PFAS mitigation we have to figure out.
Yeah, that's one I was gonna, just like, you took words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. So I have figured out that we are talking about doing an article and using free cash to fund PFAS because we don't have a good handle on it. We don't want it to impact our budget. So I have to figure out how many households, they get tested twice a year. Some of them do. Some of them get tested once a year. When I met with the FinCom last Tuesday night, I thought they got tested quarterly, and I learned that they don't. It's so, but initially, when you first start with them, it's about $2,000 to get them up and running with a POET system and the plumber and all of that. So you need to guess how many you might have in that case. Then you need to keep the ongoing testing going and all the mailings that you have to do. Last letters that we mailed out were over $80 just in postage alone. And I'm not complaining about any of that. It's just something we need to do to keep people informed. I'm guessing right now that I'll probably ask for about $50,000 in the article to cover PFAS. And the good thing about an article, so that people can hear this, is that if we don't use it, it stays there for future PFAS usage. And it kind of gives us a headwind if in figuring out what is this going to be like. Because you don't want to come back. We have spent almost $300,000 in PFAS mitigation right at the moment. And that should slow down because you have identified where it is.
Yeah, we have the hot spot.
Right, you have that going on, so it should slow down, but we have to get on a maintenance program where we're gonna have to pay for that every year. And eventually it should be in your budget, but I'm suggesting right now, until you have a better handle on it.
Are we still increasing in size? Is it increasing in size?
So it moves.
Ever slower,
Okay.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
slower rate than it was when we first started.
Right.
It's
Right.
just rolling every, right,
Oh,
and then
not
it,
first,
and then
it's
it
great.
slowed down a little bit, and then it picked up a little bit, so you're right, it doesn't stay.
So since I've been here, I started in November, we've had 2, in addition to what we had. And I don't think that's a rapid rate of finding them. And we'll see how it goes, especially with the snow melt.
Yeah, because groundwater is what changes
Right.
that, right, that's what causes it to
Right.
move or not move.
How much of the test now, like, so say 2,000 to set somebody up with the initial thing, but then the tests are,
They're like 287
Yeah.
every time.
yeah, okay.
And so some houses are bigger and they are a more complicated test, so it's 500 and some odd dollars. So what I have gathered, Brendan and I have to look at all the PFAS bills in the next month or so and figure out how many are at this rate and how many are at that rate, and kind of put a budget together to figure out.
Because the letters, this is kind of going back to the postage discussion, because this is probably, aside from some of the other things we do for postage, but this seems to be, it'll be going on. So this probably kind of guides us towards that postage machine to be able to save even a few cents.
Yeah, well, they have to be sent, they can't fit in a regular envelope. They're sent in a brown mailer. So that's over $1 a piece.
Yeah.
So
if you
we
can
have,
send
some upstairs waiting to be mailed out.
So your general sense would be to put the mitigation budget out of free cash this year, and then hopefully by next year, figure out
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And then put it into the budget, because
As we could figure
as
it
we
out.
can figure it out. Okay, that makes sense to me.
I hate to add another 50, 60,000
No, I know.
to the current deficit. So I think we have the free cash. It is free cash you want to use for one-time expenses
That's what I'm
typically.
saying. Yeah, once you know you're
Well,
gonna
if this
use
gets you
it,
started,
yeah.
right, that can be a one-time expense to get you started.
Right. That's what I'm thinking, get you started. We don't have to do it that way. That's why we have this conversation.
Yeah, right.
Because if you guys really feel it should be inside the budget, because it's a permanent expense.
Well, we do have that thing that's out there, that there is that potential for, reimbursement of something related. Is that something that should have us keep it separate?
Yes,
Rather
well,
than
yes and
total,
no,
okay.
right, so the loans, the borrowing that we're doing for what we've already paid, there is talk of forgiveness. I don't know how, there's no guarantee of forgiveness,
no.
but there's talk of forgiveness, and what's happening is PFAS is exploding in the state.
Right.
So I don't know how much money the water people have to distribute. We're kind of a first in program, because we have a lot. I don't know about other communities on the eastern part of the state.
There's.
Yeah, so,
I went to that water resources meeting today in Hardwick, and I mentioned, oh, and by the way, let's talk about PFAS. All of a sudden, like hands go up all around the room. So it's like, so all I'm trying to say is, it's yes, right, it's a state problem, it ain't going away.
no.
so.
It's a federal problem.
Oh, it is, it is.
It is, there's a benefit if you have a municipal water source, you can put in the industrial size point of use.
So
you know?
all the
And that's what a
towns
lot of water treatment plants
Are
do.
talking about that.
I mentioned that, I said, we're talking about all this
Yeah,
stuff,
Westfield's
that's, you
doing
know,
that.
Yeah, a lot of the countryside towns, I mean, when you hear it, put in a town well in a little town like us, or New Salem, or
Yeah.
Wendell, you're like, they don't need a water treatment plant, which brings all this cost to the situation, or a town well, or how, but you have to have a water guy who's got the licenses, and it just, it
yeah,
tumbles, yeah, dominoes into something a little terrifying for me. But they're talking about it because these
No, I know.
homes need treated water.
And it's easier in a massive way. Westfield is putting in one of these now for their, actually, they had them in their municipal water source.
Yeah.
And they're putting in, I forget how
Filters.
many,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big project, multiple year project, and
Yeah,
that's how they're solving, because it was in their municipal water.
Yeah.
So that's how they're solving it.
everybody seems to have a different situation, right at the moment, landfill versus fire versus all of that.
And
so-
then some unknowns.
Yeah, lots of that, and it's, Swift River School, they don't know where it came from.
they came up today in discussion, that with Joe Comerford there, that Shutesbury School did, so, yeah.
But
So,
that's the nature of the water moving underground.
Yeah, right.
You know.
right, but it's
It's been
coming
miles
in the
away.
swampy area down there, so
Interesting.
it is, yeah, so is there anything in here that I should pay attention to? The revenue, I did put the revenue in, and here's the revenue, our new growth is low. We're hoping, you had good new growth last year, we're hoping that maybe David, some of the things that they're working on will come online, and that will help our new growth. But other than that, you can kind of go down the column and see our income is not keeping up with our spending. So we only have a 2% increase in our income, and you saw in the expense line, very few 2% expenditures. So, so that's kind of the state of the union right at the moment.
Do we know about the state now in terms of revenues, because the
We
state's
always
talking
only
about,
have
yeah.
estimated numbers.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I mean.
and that's the problem with I will recommend to you folks that you write an article that revises your town meeting, not to be in April, but to put it in June, because you're not getting your state numbers that are, and even then, you don't get your state numbers sometimes till last year it was, crazy late. But it's very hard because it's a crystal ball situation, and then you have to come back and try to cut and figure out where you're gonna get the extra money.
Right,
So
you're making that recommendation
to put an article in to move the town meeting into June sometime. Actually, to take away that, you folks as selectmen can change the meeting date according to the law, but the problem is your elections are on the same date as your meeting date in April. And that was the problem when I tried to move it. I didn't realize that you do this election at the same time. So I don't know if you wanna, I don't know if you can move your I think you can move your election to June.
Well, during COVID, we had them in June and they were
Yeah.
together, like, you know,
mhm.
we did them here outside out back town
Yeah,
hall.
keeping them together saves you money.
Well, it saves you money, but everybody's coming for one, they can
Right.
come for the other, you
And,
know?
and yeah, so I would recommend you rewrite that so it's not April 26th or whatever it is. It's really tough on everyone to try to get the numbers.
So we should try to put that on a future agenda, I would think, right? Pick a-
Yeah, we can do that, I'll write that down.
Yeah, I think that's a smart idea, you know, the conversation we had around it this year
Yeah.
was, you know, and it is kind of early. We used to have it the first Saturday, was it the first Saturday, Eric?
Mhm.
In May
And
or
that was still,
March?
in May.
In May.
And it was still early, and it fell on a day that people, felt we should move it from, so, you know, we never went past that, we just kind of went forward rather than after, you know, and I came up with why we didn't do after.
Well, you got Labor Day in there too, and that causes
Memorial
Memorial Day, that causes
Yeah.
problems.
It does.
So, but I may not get it on the March 11th, because we have a lot.
That, I mean, that we can certainly accept for this year, so we can do it even at the next one after that.
Yeah. Okay, so unless you have something else on the budget, that's kind of where we are.
Okay, yeah, this looks, I appreciate having the look early and being able
Yeah,
to
yeah,
start
it's
to
good.
digest it. I do appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. Go back to Google.
Let's see, and now we have review town building needs,
Ah,
and they're particularly an elevator panel. You know, Keisha?
yep. So I've talked, since I've been here, the elevator has been an issue. I'm going back to the agenda so we can see it, just so that you know what I'm doing. So this is what we're doing tonight. So right now we're reviewing town hall building needs. So I wrote them out. Am I losing my mind here? Okay, I can find. So I'll start with the elevator. The elevator doors constantly open up and then the elevator doesn't work. So come to find out, we have had a problem with the elevator that has been ongoing for several years. So the problem is the panel in the elevator needs to be replaced. It's not working properly, so it doesn't send the proper alarm out. Originally, when I first got here and was looking at what was wrong with the elevator, I was told that it had to do with the Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi goes in and out. That is not the case. They recommended that we change the panel out, and evidently when they recommended it, at that time, the decision was made not to spend the money. I don't know if you guys were aware of it or not. $5,000 to change the panel out. We now have to go back and get a new quote and what it would cost us to fix that elevator. So that's issue number one. The other issue in this building is you don't have a fire alarm system. So where?
I said you're kidding.
No.
That was my,
No. So look around and see.
oh, well, you
Run.
said that, and I'm like, I don't see any of the red things. That's,
Yes, you have nothing.
okay.
So your fire chief is recommending that we look at least installing some alarms and not sprinklers necessarily, but some sort of a fire alarm system.
Could that work with the security alarm system?
That could work with the
Okay.
security alarm system.
Okay.
So if you're game, we need to, what I'm suggesting is that we make a list of things this building needs and we send it to the buildings committee. Because they have the funding, and if they can't fund it, then we need to ask for the capital next year, once we identify all of our problems. The elevator is an ADA issue.
And we need it.
That is a priority in checking that out and figuring that out. That front elevator should cover you, but it doesn't because you've got a table in front of it and you're blocking it. So you've got an ADA issue that we need to get that elevator fixed.
Temporarily, we should have that one accessed.
Right.
So that, yeah, so.
Well, right now it's working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not working, but it goes out often enough that you have to call the fire chief. He has to come and he has to do his magic trick and make it work again. So it's a Band-Aid right now, and I'm just alerting you to the fact that that elevator needs to be looked at, that panel needs to be changed out, and we need to get the cost estimate from the fire alarm company, and let the buildings committee decide how they're going to fix it, if they're going to fix it or what they're going to do. Because my understanding is their commission is to look at all town buildings and figure out what they need and what they don't need. Some of the other issues are the doors. We need to either get them to open and close right, or not leak as bad as they do.
Building has, experience with this kind of mechanism here, so it stops sticking. So
Yeah.
we should look at
So that's, I guess what I'm saying is these are the things for this building. Now, do you folks, or has anybody in the audience seen something that we need to do?
Well, there's always the wish list of beautifying,
Right, that's,
so.
so the sound, you can soundproof these walls. And you don't have a lot of soundproofing that you need to do. Because I don't know how the audience hears us or the echoing or whatever. So that's something we can add to the list to have them explore.
Okay, so we can add some of the beautifying things too.
And I'm not sure if we should, now you put mini splits in some of the rooms. There were about 4 air conditioners that weren't working that we disposed of this year that were in the storage closet. I don't know when spring comes who needs air conditioners. So that may be a minor expense. Air conditioners are not that expensive. It's running them that costs.
It may be something too, I think, I think it was you, Gabe, but I'm not gonna say it, but you said something about the green communities could
Yes.
be used to put in
Mini
mini
splits,
splits.
yeah.
So we have had moisture issues, specifically on this garden level of the building. And, and we have a humidifier, which obviously we're dry enough because it's not running, right?
Right.
Right, so, but we usually have an air conditioner in the window here. Maybe we should, and in the senior room, maybe we should consider thinking about that, because it would help the humidity issue.
Yeah, well,
You could use.
mini
it for-
splits you can set as a dehumidifier
Right,
setting.
right, you can do multiple things with them,
Right.
and they're quieter than our lovely machine in that. And then, of course, the air conditioner, so we might wanna think about upgrading those, because they are more efficient than an air conditioner. I see.
So that's kind of it on my
Rich has a
town.
question.
If I may, we often have trouble with the now I'm not sure if anything can be done with this, but we often have trouble with the downstairs bathroom and the clogging of the toilets. Usually the strong arm that comes in and if Chris isn't here and unclogs them, but I don't know if there's anything that can be done, but maybe we could look at it.
There was some issues upstairs too with the bathroom up there, water heating, hot water taking exceedingly long and all of that sort of stuff, so just in general, probably both should be looking at.
So, okay, and I did notice the bathroom sink is draining all of a sudden, and it wasn't draining before, so I don't know if
I think it got
somebody
flushed.
cleared it, yeah.
Part of it is the soap too, for years there was a coconut oil soap or olive oil soap that was used, and as soon as cold water hits that,
It,
it just
clogs.
solidifies, right, so, and I believe that was changed over.
okay. So smoke detectors, I went over that, we need smoke detectors, some sort of fire alarm, smoke detector
Yeah,
system.
they'll probably want to add carbon monoxide detectors as
Oh,
well.
especially down on here with the furnace level, yeah, good point.
I know in Leadbrook, they put them in every room in the town hall, so.
Good idea.
Good idea. Okay, Knox boxes. Kristen, you have to help me. Yes, Knox boxes. What, I guess the fire department has this box of thousands of keys in it, so if they respond to a fire, they have to figure out what key to use to get in a building. Knox boxes are everywhere now. So it's a box outside the building that the fire department has one key for all the buildings in town. They are putting one in the library, outside of it. We ought to consider doing it to all town buildings. So that may be a request that we want to give to the FinCom if we find out how much, or give to the buildings committee to put Knox boxes on all the buildings. Now, I know that Stephen with the buildings committee has talked to me about Knox boxes.
I had experienced them this week, and I saw them on the first time. One had blue tape and one had red tape for, obviously police and fire.
Right.
We could probably do it all the same, but,
And the other thing you can do is inside that box, you can put a list of contacts. So if they have to go in it and they have to notify somebody, your emergency management team can create the list and put it in the Knox box. So if you have a firefighter that is a volunteer that hasn't done this before, he hits that Knox box, he unlocks, and he's got the list of who to contact right in there. So that is a thought. And right now, we only need 3. I know that we need one for this building, we need one for that building over there. Highway doesn't need one because they are a key entry system. And why did I say 3? Fire station, thank you. So that's the other thing I had on the town hall needs that we need to put in the list. So
And did we want to be more formal about cleaning up this room or not, or do we just?
I would love to.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think we can do that. That might be something we can do.
Yeah, I did tell Mary Ann those things have to go. Because when you look in if you see our meeting, you can see those mats.
Yep.
And I said, buy a cabinet, put it in the cabinet,
Or build a library, throw them in
or
there.
build a library.
I think both can be achievable within here.
I don't know if people notice, but it's already different with the police department having moved the TV this way. You don't see that ugly wall, and it does still echo in here though.
It's just because there's nothing in here.
Right.
So, and we also, the tables these are great tables. They're light, they're easy to move, like,
Yeah.
one person can set them up. But they also actually reverb the noise. They don't absorb. So we need something to absorb. It might be
Right.
curtains on the windows, like something,
Right.
yeah, functional and good.
So that's kind of what I've identified that I think we need to put a list together, give it to the buildings committee. If you guys in the next week or so think of things to add to this, or somebody sees something, you see something, because you're seeing another town hall, you may see something that's good for us to
Yeah,
consider.
definitely.
I got to visit the New Salem Town Hall. It's small, it's nice and small, but it was, there was no echo there, because it has, carpet and, furniture and, that sort of thing, so that was helpful. Fresh eyes are always good too.
Yeah, Leopard they just redid their hardwood floors, and I think it's kind of the same as here. There is a little bit of an echo.
We don't experience it when we have a lot of people in the room, just because it has that, the absorbing,
Right.
There might be we may want to ask for a budget for select board furniture down here for the meeting room. And there are 2 furniture places that buy companies that go defunct their furniture. I furnished the whole upstairs building department, planning department, Board of Health in Orange, buying the Miller Herman desk system for nothing. I think it was $4,000 to do a whole floor with quality stuff from the company in Springfield.
That's the one I'm Riverdale.
Yeah, you go in there and you look, and they have everything you could possibly imagine. We don't need to break the bank by buying brand new $1,000 desks.
No, you're right.
But you can buy a nice table or something to help make this look more professional. And I know some people don't want us to beautify anything, but I think the noise and the professionalism that you bring to having this room cleaned up would really be nice. Comfortable chairs, that sort of thing. So anyway, you could ask. You could start small and ask for. There's and Melissa and I talked about it. There are these kind of curved. If you look at Athol's select board meetings, they have a curved table where they all sit and they can face the audience together instead of spread out.
Yeah, and you also can kind of peek at each other, right? So it's not just sitting, all of us in a row. We have a little bit of a curve.
So you can add that to your wish list and see how it comes out.
Add that to the budget with $400,000.
I know, but you still have to talk about it.
No, I know.
They could say no, and that's okay. I'm just saying you need to think about these things. These black things up here could be changed out to white insulated things, so this room doesn't look so nasty. There's nothing wrong with this building. Oh, the other thing is that fence is falling down out there. I don't know. Yeah, I've noticed that since I came here. That black fence that separates the generator is tipping and falling down. Now, you paid some good money for that fence, so you need to maintain it and get it back up. So that's another thing we need to put on our list, is that black fence. And the only reason we're talking about it now is it's budget season.
I know, yeah.
And this is something we should, like, you know, I can envision, and I don't know how many know this, know Gabe is, because I mentioned it. And, the senior room in there was all done with volunteer labor and camaraderie and fun. The only thing that was not was the tile floor, because the floor was not even, it had a little bit of a motion to it, so they came in but the rest of it, paint, you know, even the ceiling of the grout was done by volunteers, so maybe it could be a part of that.
It could be a part of that, and Council on Aging has a lot of grant opportunities that I'm hoping your new TA can hunt out grants for them that would furnish, put curtains up, would warm that room up. That room is freezing for elderly people to be in. So there's so much that can be done, if you can get somebody to look at the grant, even if you have to match the grant a little bit. So that's it on the town piece.
Cool.
All right, so now, I guess this blends nicely with TA reports.
Yes, and I have a lot.
Okay.
So for the next meeting, we have 2 appointment asks, Michael Pills, for, I wanna say, is it EAC?
It's the Energy Committee.
Energy Committee. And then there's another gentleman, for the planning, no, maybe Michael.
No, Michael Pill's zoning board of
Is zoning
appeals.
board of appeals, and Michael Tashara had another gentleman, and I don't have his name, so I'm gonna put them on the agenda to
Okay.
appoint next week. We have asked, Joe Comerford and her people, Elena and everybody has asked for us to call in immediate support if you guys want on the passenger rail trail in Greenfield. Okay, so if you're okay with that, I'll contact the number that she's given. We have to do it the next day or so, and right now she's saying call. So, call and get your opinion on that. We do want it.
Yeah.
So we'll support her in that. I have an interesting thing. Do we have a cannabis policy in this town?
I remember a lot of discussions, in some of them.
So
We have a policy.
do we allow cannabis retail?
We don't have
I
any
don't know.
retail.
So you have no cannabis agreements right now in town?
No,
No, there was someone who wanted to do a
They wanted
cannabis
to grow-
manufacturing,
grow
right?
stuff.
But that, we didn't fit that because of water source and stuff.
So we have a company, and it came today, called Pineapple Express outside of Ware, that we'll put on the next agenda. I'm just telling you about it now. They want to deliver. They want to provide a delivery service to Shutesbury to deliver cannabis. So they're asking you to support their desire with the Cannabis Control Commission. And that's something that I'll bring to you next time around, but I wanted you to be aware of it, the cannabis control thing. And then,
That's the need for traveling, the pineapple.
Yep. So, and the police chief has this wonderful idea of of getting that field behind the fire station, and she's here to talk about it a little more, if we can, but, to use to revamp that, field behind the fire station for, what is it, baseball?
Softball, but many other.
Many other thoughts. So she would like to have us appoint an ad hoc committee to research it. And she'll bring forward some people. She has talked to the recreation committee, and they're in full support of her idea. And so she'll come back and present an idea, and along with some names. Recreation is also going to possibly recommend some people. Bring that back to you and then talk about doing it. It's really kind of exciting to see some of this happening. I know they used to play back there.
They used to play, there used to be horse stuff back there, there used to be ice skating rink back there, there was a whole bunch of stuff. It's quite the recreation place.
So,
Thank you, Kristen, for that idea.
Do you want me to talk about it or not?
you can, please do.
Does this look?
Yeah,
Okay. So super quick, I won't take up a lot of your time. This started because I went to visit one of our seniors who calls himself an old timer. And he was talking to me about what used to happen in the past. And one of the things that he brought up that he missed was the softball field behind the fire station. And he explained how they used to play softball there and recreate there for other things. They had soccer, they had in talking to more of the town residents that remember these things, I have little pictures coming my way. So I started getting the idea that what a fun a community policing project this could be for the town. I'd like to create a softball field, but can be used for other things. It can be used for soccer, t-ball, things like that. I'd like to create have us create a track around the field for people to have a safe place to walk, to get movement. This could be something in the winter that is used for cross-country skiing track. We want to, my vision is to have a place, another place, because we'll have the library, we have the lake, we have the SAP. This could be another place for people to come and recreate and potentially grow, teams and really morale of the town. So I talked to the Recreation Committee, again, just to state what Gabe already said, they're in full support of this. Something really exciting. I'd like to have, a working group for it and start really diving into what's gonna work easy, what do we have to work on, is it possible, all of those things, and bring back something that used to be. I asked around why did it go away? And I don't think anyone was able to give me any history.
No, I don't
It just sort of like
disappeared.
disappeared.
we got the internet, now we just watch the games on TV.
Right, so I wanted to try and, for the people that I've spoken to, that the quote, old timers as they call themselves, there's a few of them that's how they address themselves to me. And they say, this would be so fun to bring this back. I maybe wouldn't be able to play, but I'd love to come watch games and things like that. We could create co-ed teams, we could create whatever. It could be something huge. I also foresee it as a multi-use place where we could have live music and just something that as a community policing project, I want to gift the town in that way, and I believe it can be done. So just that's
Don't discount bocce court.
right. So like whatever, everything.
Pickleball.
Everything.
I don't have reference point. with
Yes,
that.
I know. There's always someone in the crowd that's like pickleball.
Curling.
Pickleball
Curling in
and
the winter?
softball, I play softball.
Yes, me too.
Could you do curling in the winter?
Something, everything.
I don't think you could do
All of
curling out
it.
there.
I don't know.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, that was the point.
Okay.
All right, that's awesome.
That's cool.
That's it for me,
Yeah.
unless you have questions for me.
I don't have questions for you, but we are moving on to our next thing. I actually see that most of our visitors on Zoom have left, so we're going to go into our executive session now. So that we will, for strategy number 2, in preparation for negotiation with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, police
Bye,
chief.
everyone.
Bye.
See you, Chris.
Police chief contract negotiations
How are you?
or to approve executive minutes. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Stalker eye.
Bailey, Sabrina, aye. So at this point, I will stop the recording. Thank you. That was just, I know.